Coach, talking about being in contact with a lot of the alumni, you've gotten the opportunity to work with two very legendary New Jersey wrestlers that are alumni. And I know if I got this right. You came in after Jordan had already been on campus for a bit, correct?
Yeah, I just came. I was back for Jordan's senior year. That was my first year back.
Okay.
Was his senior year. Yep.
Okay. And then with James as well too, he's a legend in New Jersey. You got to work with him when Jordan his senior year. Did you know I mean, he had some tough competition just to make the team after NCAs. And with James, when did you know that they were going to take off?
So Jordan's path to the world team happened pretty quick. Because the U.S. Open is so quick after the NCAA's. He had a great NCAA season, and then I think there was people doubting him a little bit. They thought, could he hold up, to the the hand fight of Andrew Howe, which Jordan always says was one of his toughest competitors ever. So I think Jordan had a few doubters in the year, and then I think it was just like, hey, interested to see how this Burroughs kid's going to do at the Open, and he was not refined at all. He was shooting doubles, he was getting chest wrapped, he was getting head pinched, he was getting gut wrenched. I mean, he was just out there scrapping for his life. I just because I've been in the room with JB, I knew that just his collection of attributes and his psychological profile is just really freaking tough to beat. So yeah, I was like, yeah, he can make a world team. And then he made the world team. I'm like, dang, he he wrestles a style that internationally is like really good. A lot of guys are Eastern European, the Russians, they like to wrestle. Once you get to their leg, they like to wrestle. I'm like, Jordan likes to get two legs and get you off your feet. It's tough to start wrestling when he gets to your legs. And then just as that, really the pivotal match for me was, his second match at the World Championships in 2011 was he wrestled Sargush. Dennis Sargush was returning two-time world champ, and it was a dog fight. That's when Sargush was grabbing his singlet. I don't know if you guys remember, and he
Hmm.
grabbed the singlet so much that he actually tore it. Like, do you know how hard it is to tear one of those singlets? Singlets are sturdy these days, right?
Yeah.
Um, after that, it was just like he's gonna rock and roll this. Um, and then he became more professional. Then his technique got good, then his lace got good, and then his diet got better, his social life got better, and then he was still he had not worried about the diet thing at all in 2011, right? He was sleeping on my couch and eating whatever and drinking whatever, um, and still just a tremendous competitor. So when you have someone that competes at the level of JB, backed up with the work ethic and the way he lives his life, like that's the recipe for GOAT status, you know? Um, so that kind of happened quick. James's was more, I James was my first recruit. So, that was the guy that I spent the most time with early on. And, James lost his first two matches out of the gate as a true freshman to guys that you don't even, I could tell you their names and you don't even remember them. So, he had a rocky start and he had some, he never placed at Fargo, the infamous story where he had to wrestle back at Fargo and somebody knocked on his door. James was sleeping with headphones on, never got the knock to come back over to the session at Fargo and just didn't place. That was James Green. But James's trajectory was a little bit more up and down, but the overall trajectory of it was good. So I saw James, a lot of growth in James. Um, and it wasn't long. I think it was James's like third or fourth year, third or fourth years when he made the the university games team, right? So he won universities, right? And then he won two of them. So he went to the university games and he went to university worlds back to back. And I was like, James, like Jordan, had a style that was really good internationally. Guys aren't used to that style. Hard hands, quick double legs, like they're you got to wrestle them on their feet. So we felt good. We thought James had some really good, potential to make some international teams. But again, like when he did it, Marable kind of owned him his first couple years on the senior circuit. And he had beat him in the open earlier that year. And then the infamous Marable didn't make weight for the trials. James beats Schlater in the finals of the trials, but he's only the trials champ. He's not the world team member because remember, I don't know if you do remember all the craziness that happened with James and Marable in 2015.
Vaguely, yeah.
So so James, so Marable didn't make weight for the trials. But because he was the US Open champion, you have certain concessions afforded to you. And one of them is if you get hurt within 24, if you get hurt before the actual trials, you can postpone the wrestle off, whatever. Because he wasn't in the trials, he was just sitting in the trials finals, right? So James goes through the tournament and he beats Schlater. And again, like I said, he beats Schlater two straight matches. Um, maybe he just beat him once. Anyways, I remember them not announcing James as the world team member because they knew this arbitration was still going to happen. So Marable's team took the case to arbitration, and then they ended up granting Marable a wrestle off with James to make the world team. After James took third at the Open and then won the trials, now he's got to wrestle Marable in Fargo during junior nationals. So me and James and Manning drive up to Fargo and weigh in, and you know James, that was the moment that I knew James Green was ready because he beat Marable in two straight matches, something he had never done before, and he did it pretty convincingly. He did it with a lot of the stuff that Marable had done to him, like positioning, underhook, pushing him out. And I was like, wow, this guy grew. And I think that having that summer of adversity where you take third in the Open, you don't get what you want, and then you win the trials, but you're not the world team member. And then you go to Spain and you compete internationally and you do well. And then when you're in Spain, you realize, oh, I got to wrestle in 2 weeks to make the world team. And I think all that adversity created something in James that took him to the next level that year, right? And obviously 2015 was really special because it was James's first world team. But for me as a coach, it was James and Jordan's first world team together. You know, James had always kind of been like little brother to JB, right? Not to us, but just to the world. But it was nice to see those guys on the mat, and for some reason they were always like called up to the mat at the same time. So like I was in James's corner, Manning was in JB's corner, and they were like ripping off like double leg, lace, 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 double leg, and they were like, it was a special moment. So obviously he's bronze there, and in 2017 he was silver. So and he made 6 world teams. It's hard to do. It's hard to make one. James made 6.
Yeah.
So I love those guys. He's got some more world teams to make, by the way. James does.
How's his hip?
His hip is fantastic, and that was really the kind of the catalyst for him to come back. Is after he had his hip surgery. He said for the first time in a long time, like he didn't have any pain anymore. So his hip was so bad. He got surgery after the World Championships in 2017. So I mean that was the year that James was silver and the US won it, right? But James's hip was so gnarly to the point that he had to get it repaired right after that. So that training and that what was internationally James's best career, but was internationally James's best year of his career. He was not 100% for. And now it's incredible. He's back. Wrestles every day.
Do you two
Little
square
guys,
up at
big
all?
guys. What's that?
Do you two square up at all?
That ship has sailed. we
Smarter, not harder.
yeah, um we get close to trials time. We spend a lot of time together drilling and wrestling. But he's got so many great workout partners. He
Yeah.
doesn't need me anymore.